Everyone, it is the final week 7 now, here in round 4, our final round of the 2014 SK Telecom 2014 SK Telecom Starcraft 2 Pro League.
2014?
2015. What year are we in?
You should aid in something more.
All right, but we're going to be starting things off with MVP versus JIN, and what's possibly the weakest lineup JIN has ever sent out to play this round.
Yeah, I'm already nervous looking at this lineup, how they're starting things off, the first 3 players. We're seeing Trap versus Losira to start things off, but yeah, this is going to be a pretty weak start, at least for JIN, and I'm getting kind of nervous because obviously, where is Maru?
Yeah, Maru's not playing today, and this is a bit of a concern, I think, for hardcore Maru fans as well as JIN fans, because maybe, you know, our theories about his wrist injury are coming true. Maybe he's been having such big issues that he's actually not even coming out to play. So for those of you guys who do not know, JIN cannot qualify for playoffs. They're actually out, and so therefore a win here doesn't matter. So that's part of the reason why we see SOS sent, of course, to Red Bull. That's why we see Maru not being played. Yeah. But even still, you know, you would want to finish things off with a bang, and not sending Maru out kind of sends a signal to me that maybe he's having some more of those wrist problems.
Yeah, maybe he just needs more of a break so he can perform, you know, in individual leagues or whatnot. Maybe he needs something more. Maybe he's actually getting therapy for it. It's really hard to tell.
Yeah, he was pretty quiet in the makeup room. You know, the makeup people asked him, you know, why aren't you playing? You know, why aren't you getting makeup on? And he was like, nah, I'm just not playing. He seemed pretty down about it, so it's really all the hints I can give you guys, and we really don't know. But I'm hoping you're right. I'm hoping he is getting therapy, getting treatment for that.
I hope so. I really do. But it does mean it's a weaker lineup today, which is a scary thing going into this. MVP must be feeling pretty confident. Starting off strong with Losira, obviously one of their best players. And from there, you know, they're pulling up with Gumiho, Blaze, and then Departure. Like, they could very well get a 3-0.
Yeah, Departure actually even doing a lot better recently in Pro League, as well as winning that tournament, Gfinity recently.
Yeah.
You know, one of our weaker tournaments, but still having a tournament win under your belt, definitely giving you a little bit more experience. I look at this, and it's kind of crazy to say, but I highly favor MVP going into MVP versus JIN.
Yeah.
It's just
I never thought I'd say that, right?
Yeah.
But I think pretty much nearly all of us predicted like it should be a 3-0 at least for MVP, unless there's like a kind of weirdly to say, but like an upset where we see like Symbol, Cure, or Trap actually take a win off these players that should be pretty favored.
Sure, you know, I think Cure is the big key game in this one. If he can take a win, we might have that 4th match. Here are our current rankings, so let's take a look at this. Basically, a good rule of thumb is, in general, if you have 4 losses in Pro League, you're out. You're done. So you can almost never qualify with 4 losses. There's very rare circumstances in which that happens, like if a team is 7-0 or something in that final round. Here are our winners' rankings. Hero and Zest tied for first right now. So that's pretty exciting.
That is exciting. Zest has actually really turned around his ratio, because he was like neck and neck, like 50% for a while, but then he started gaining the wins in a big way once again. And we see Biel as 3rd place. Not a surprise there. He's been playing so well this season.
It's impossible, unfortunately, for Rogue to reach the top. There's not enough games left televised for him, but he's so close up there as well.
Yeah, he's always done well, just maybe not played enough.
Dream down there actually used to have one of our best ratios, looking a bit weaker now at 10-5. 10-5 is still really good, but he's been losing a lot in recent times.
Yeah, he's kind of he's off that hype train now after, you know, the well, let's go into this real quick, Will.
Okay, let's talk about this. I feel like the match between Gumiho and Cure, if Cure wins in a TVT on Terraform, which is possible, it is doable, if he's able to take a win there, that's how they're going to do it. Because Symbol, we haven't seen him play in a long time, and that's not just in Pro League. He's not really been qualifying for these other leagues as well. A lot of people were wondering if the guy had retired, but no, he's still here. He's still on the roster. And Trap versus Losira, I just have to go with Losira here, you know?
Yeah, it's a safe bet. Losira is still one of the top players on MVP. Him and Gumiho are really leading the way here. And Blaze, the new sort of player, or the guy that changed his name last, is also doing really well. I think Trap has a chance. Cure has a chance. I don't think Symbol does. Symbol is like the guy we never really see out here because he's just not playing well.
Yeah, he just must not be doing well in-house because they're not calling upon him. They're not using him here in this really important sort of league, right? So they only use him now when SOS is gone and Maru is potentially having wrist injury problems or something else.
And obviously Rogue versus Departure. That should favor Rogue, and that might bring him to that ace match if it happens.
Yeah, but MVP has won, or they have played the ace matches in their past 3 matches consecutively. And this is the first time this season that JIN is going to have Maru and SOS benched for a match. So
scary thing, man. They're 2 of their big hitters.
Yeah, and this is their worst record this season as well going into playoffs. So it's just, I guess perhaps they're thinking about a lot of different things because they can no longer be eligible for that postseason. But let's see if they can finish strong here. We got a ton of Jin Green Wings fans in the studio. Because they cannot play in postseason, this will be the last Jin game that you guys will see until next year.
Yeah, that's actually a really big thing. And surely Jin don't want to go out losing to MVP 3-0 or anything like that. I'm sure they came here today very prepared, ready to play their games, even though they have that unusual lineup.
All right, well, Daehyun's still leading the charge with a sick 71.7%.
I'm rock bottom. Rock bottom. Look at that, 58%. What happened, Wolf?
I think a lot of upsets happened, Moonglade, and Daehyun somehow knew how they were all going to go.
Oh, well, at least everyone's going for Losira to start things off here today.
Yeah. So, you know, it's interesting to me we have nobody for Trap because I feel like Trap really has.
He's dangerous.
He has played very well recently.
He's a dangerous player. I completely agree with you there. And, you know, all it takes is a very well-timed all-in, a very perfect strategy to take out a Zerg player in a best of one.
And this is Losira's worst matchup. You know, 2-4 and 0-4 versus Trap in unofficial matches, but still the momentum is on Losira on his team as well. A very dangerous player because he's known to play late game, but also will throw in cheeses more often than most players. He's very scary in that sense. You know, he's all about roach all-ins, even in ZVP.
Yep, very powerful macro Zerg as well. Echo, the map, not probably what he really would want. Maybe Cactus Valley if he had a chance against the Protoss to be very comfortable in. But this one should be able to get up 3 bases fairly easily.
Well, you can see Trap has also played in 8 ace matches. That includes his time on STX as well as Incredible Miracle. So, you know, at a time, this guy was kind of holding things together on Incredible Miracle last year.
That guy was puffing fierce in the change room as well. He seems like he's not 100%. Hopefully it doesn't affect him in the game.
Yeah, that's a good point, you know. Physical condition is absolutely a big factor going into an important match like this. Hey, look, Maru's on the bench.
It's a big deal, man. It really affects your mentality.
All right, guys, well, let's go into Echo here for game number 1. The top left in teal, representing MVP. It's Losira.
Go Losira. Or something like that.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Show us an awesome game.
Oh, there we go. And here in the bottom right, we do have Trap for Jin Green Wings. Great Protoss player. What is he going to do on this map? Oh, it's a sweet one. I use that one sometimes, Wolf.
Says like basically if you win the first game, you'll put me in a good mood. So please do that. Basically, is what the sign said.
All right. You couldn't have more of a reason to win this one then.
Exactly. So, again, this is the last televised match Jin Green Wings will play this year as a team. Kind of a strange thing to think about because
kind of a sad thing.
Yeah, you know they went to 3 playoffs back to back. Lost all 3 of them, and now cannot go to the 4th playoff.
Yeah, they really kind of slumped hard in the final round here. I do have to say it probably is a lot to do with Maru like struggling in the matchups as well as his wrists, which is such a shame.
Oh, we will see, of course. I refer to this as being a regular season. We'll see what happens with the grand final point totals because they did go to 3 of those playoffs. I've got a Japanese fan down here. Watching some Starcraft.
Very cool.
And so basically, you know, this is the last time we're going to see them play the regular season format where you have players chosen for maps. Everything else after this becomes all kill. And part of the reason I talk about this is, I mean, they might go to postseason grand finals. We don't know yet.
Looking where they are, they might. They probably should, actually.
I mean, they're currently in 3rd place, right?
Yeah, so they certainly should advance at this point. So, I mean, we'll see them again, Wolf. Don't worry.
Yeah. But it's going to be the last time we see them regular season.
You know what they're probably doing? Saving up Maru's power for that playoffs as well.
A smart choice, as he's already eliminated from Star League, for example. So, you know, just get his strength back.
give him the rest he needs so he can perform when it actually really counts. And I'm sure he's kind of reinventing himself because he has been suffering some losses, especially in Terran versus Protoss. Maybe it's time that he just practiced a lot and didn't have to focus on any sort of individual match.
Sure.
Well,
once a fruit, always a fruit. I guess that's how it goes.
That's what they say.
No, I think that's an old Confucius saying or something like that. I think he once said that. Okay, so we didn't really talk about the openings too much in this game, but it looks to be just, obviously a quick hatch with a gas, as well, from Losira for safety, perhaps also for aggression. He's going to push this probe out here shortly, so he's not going to be able to see how much gas is mined. And we do have, a faster cyber core. No forge opening from Trap here.
Just a nice, greedy opening here. Not going to choose to go for forge, fast expand, or anything like that. Gets his tech out a little bit quicker, gets a mothership core, stalker out, gets that pressure on. I do like the build that we do see from Losira as well. Getting for his faster zoning speed. It's going to mean he can try and deny that third base. If Trap was to try and take it earlier, then maybe he'd expect.
He canceled it, though. Do you think he's going to go for... He's making 2 Overlords right now, but I think he might go for 2-base lair.
Yeah.
Becoming more popular right now in Korea.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess at the very least, it's going to force the Protoss to kind of total up. Can't really go onto the map if they're afraid of Zergling speed coming online earlier than they want. And it's going to... Losira's going to go into a third base behind this, so I guess in the end of all things, it's more of a mind game. It's going to show it. It got scouted so he can cancel it. Maybe if it didn't get scouted at all, he simply just goes with it. And Ling's going to be out the map a lot sooner than Trap would expect.
Yeah, he did end up, restarting that speed after the hatchery, so he's going to have that eventually. Well, he didn't see a probe hidden at the third base for Trap, almost indicating that he wants to take a fast third earlier than Losira would expect and keep that hidden, and then kind of pressure a little bit with these gateways he's adding right now while he does it. Then he can have that, that follow back to the third base, fall back to it, defend it against speedlings after doing some pressure, forcing, maybe some more links to be made, killing some drones.
Oh, the Zergling so close to finding that probe on the map as well. I think we might have missed it with the Observer, but that's such an important probe on the map. If it gets like a very close pylon out, problems can happen pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's where he's going to be saying that probe is over to the bottom left.
Ling's going to see it. Is he going to react to it? He does. There we go.
Yeah, you guys didn't see it, but it's like so important.
Well, I guess it's lucky that I'm watching Wolf.
When the Korean commentators like, so like, wow, he sent all of his links right there. How did he know?
Well, there we go. He's found it.
Warp gate research is finished, and it's going to push these links away, as well as the mothership core. Obviously going to keep pushing those away.
Yeah, a lot of links coming out from this as a reaction as well. Also going to be able to deny this third Nexus if he chooses to.
Yeah, I mean, if he quickly reroutes him over to that Nexus.
Looks like he is as well. And Mothership Core is completely out of position for this. He's not going to be able to use it at all to defend.
Yeah, this is a big problem. He needs to get the sentries over there as well. They're busy dealing with an Overlord, so they're not going to be there. I think this is going to be an easy free cancel on this Nexus.
Yeah, that's actually such a blunder from Trap. And huge advantage for Losira. Now from this, he's just simply going to drone up that third base and take that one-piece lead.
That's such a frustrating thing to have happen like that, especially when you're focusing so much on denying an Overlord scout. His +1 is so far away that he can't really send an attack. Oh, this is...
No, it's never going to happen. Not with that many Zerglings. That's ambitious. Forcing out some force fields there.
Yeah, you basically did, force those forces to place. If Trap hadn't reacted perfectly, might have been able to get it down when it was at its first initial hit points there. One Ling gets into the main, so everything is going to be scouted here. There's nothing to scout at this point because everything's kind of been messed up for Trap. He's now adding a late Twilight Council. It looks like at the natural, so not going to be seen by this Ling, but already Losira knows what's up. He's like, oh, well, you don't have a Stargate, you don't have a Robo, so obviously you're going into Blink and +2.
It's also the fear of just a huge gateway attack as well. I mean, look how many sentries are out right now. He could simply just be going for one big all-in. He's got 10 sentries right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Losira is going to have Burrow in just a minute, and +1 Carapace to help those Lings out. They're making Spine Crawlers right now as well. Is it still going to be a tough all-in to stop? That Nexus is so late. If he doesn't find damage here, he's going to be in a lot of trouble.
I think with Burrow, there's nearly no way he can not defend this, right? I mean, with the lack of DPS as well, it's like it's just a pressure move. Trap, move forward, move back. Force out a lot of roaches, but Trap's still kind of finding where he wants to go with this. Looks like it's going to be those +2 Stalkers.
I like this better than committing to the attack. I mean, obviously we know, and Trap doesn't know that Burrow was finished. But even still, it's a risky attack, and he forced a lot of units. And now he keeps the worker count pretty even. In fact, he's ahead. 60 to 58 workers right now. So even though it's a late Nexus, he can tech up from here.
Look at this big attack coming across the map as well.
Let's see how well he defends this. He's got a lot of Mothership Core energy now.
No, we just missed it, but he burrowed all his roaches as the hallucination flew over them as well. So Trap doesn't know exactly what's going on right now.
Oh, I don't think that's a tight wall. Okay, looks like it is. I'm wrong.
Here we go. So many roaches coming across the map.
Okay, he's got a lot of force fields, and he needs to use them well. There's no burrow movement, so he's just going to try to come and wedge between these two bases, but already a good setup here for Trap. He doesn't have any force fields at his natural, though. Okay, I take it back. He's got one. There's a second one warped in.
Yeah, no rogue speed either, which is actually going to be a big problem, and there's an Observer sitting on top of this army now.
Yeah, even with that increased regen, not going to be able to out-tank this damage.
No, a little too much there. Now that a cannon's finished at the front, too, it's going to be even easier. He's got to be careful. That's a lot of force fields available, and a lot of Stalkers being warped in.
Yeah, and Blink is almost finished, so when that does finish, he can even chase further, chase harder.
Bad thing about this for Losira is he got his 4th base so late, so he's going to be short on gas going into his transition. And it looks like it is going to be Mutas behind this, which is a powerful one. He's going to have enough for 8.
Yeah. No scout on the Spire either for Trap, so he doesn't know this is coming up. He is going to send some hallucinations out, though, to find it now. And +2 almost out. The first wave of Mulas shouldn't find much damage unless Trap is out of position. But it can start to snowball.
Yeah, Trap looks like he's posturing to move across the map here. Oh, Barry's not going to do much against the Robotech. But this is not really an all-in just yet, or even an official move-out for Trap. He doesn't have a probe or a Wall Prism with him currently. Moving it across now.
I really love how much he's threatening in these games. He's really forcing Losira to react. Sometimes panically, make a ton of units. Uses Larva on Zerglings to the drones, for example.
The problem with this style that we are seeing from Losira as well is that counterattacking, you don't have much time to do so. So look at this, Mutas and Lynx trying to go across the map now. But now Losira's going for an engagement, but that's not the right type of army. It's a small army for this composition.
Yeah, he's actually coming from behind with these Mutalisks, trying to pick off these sentries. A big force field donut on those roaches as well, but they're not really eliminated just yet. He's going to try to escape now. The Blink does come forward. Can Losira muster up enough units to defend this? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I mean, he's making 40 Lings behind this. They have +1 Carapace against the +2 Stalkers and a lot of force fields.
And look at this, just way too much. Losira just basically getting outpaced, I would say, in this game by the move outs from Trap. And
I gotta say, I'm not buying this kind of strategy for this kind of map. It's simply too small. You don't have enough time to go for these Muta counterattacks that are going to keep the Protoss in their base.
GG. Trap takes the upset win here for Jin Air game number 1. And this does not bode well for MVP.
It doesn't. And you know what? This is pretty much going to go to an ace match from here at the very least. When we have Rogue versus Departure at game number 4, it's going to go there unless we see a big turnaround.
Yeah, unless Jin Air just wins also.
Yeah, that too.
It's possible, I suppose, but I mean, the normal sort of follow-up to this, especially considering that many sentries and Blink Stalkers, is to make Hydras. But he didn't do it. Most people would make Hydras there for safety, for follow-up pressure. Attacking into that natural, even with Burrow, was just never really going to be an effective attack unless he can get into the natural, right? I mean, how much damage is he really going to find with those roaches that he counterattacked with? He did it. He did the attack because he made a bunch of roaches to defend, and he was like, oh, I wasted a lot of larva. My drone count isn't what I want it to be. I spent all this money, and now I can't get the Mulus that I want, so I might as well attack. I might as well try to find something. But on this map with a cooling tower down, you're going to be stuck in between two bases with a ton of force fields that you already scouted.
Yeah.
Tough to find damage.
I totally think Hydraling would have been the right choice there for this kind of map. You can't really take it to that. If you were playing on Cactus Valley, for instance, you have so much more time, so much more space. You can counter